Hi everyone, it's Anthony back with another video, and today, or I guess tonight, we're going to be going through a Get Unready with me. So it's been quite some time since I've done one of these videos. Super excited, in the new place, kind of still getting things settled, even though I've been here for, it's been like 6 months, but I just haven't really set up much, so I'm still kind of getting back into the groove of filming, recording, trying to figure out lighting, that type of thing. So bear with me as I still continue to make adjustments. Typically when I would do these ready and unready videos, I'd be doing them in my old bathroom, but my new bathroom is much smaller. I don't know if I'm going to be able to manage having all my products out and having the camera set up and all of that stuff. I just don't think it's going to be very functional or feasible in that bathroom. So what I'm going to do is what I know a lot of other content creators do when they do these routines, is they kind of just get into it right after they finish cleansing, because that's kind of where you need to be in front of the sink really for rinsing and that type of thing. So that's what I've done, just cleansed my skin. But I will talk about the two products that I use for my double cleanse right now. The first of which is going to be the Solved Skincare Coconut Oil Cleansing Balm. I actually just started working this product into my routine for a second time. I used it a month back, maybe a couple months back, and I liked it, but at that time I was experiencing some congestion in my pores and some mild breakouts here and there, and I've still got them, or I still have some breakouts that are just kind of flashing up here and there, mainly on this side, and that's the side I sleep on. So I made sure that my pillowcases are super clean, all that stuff. So hopefully that starts to subside. But I'm seeing some blemishes here. However, I didn't throw it away because it was like, maybe it's something else in my routine at that time that might have been causing some issues. So I held on to it. I'm working it back into my routine, and I've been using it for a few days now, and no issues that I'm seeing, not any changes other than, you know, what I'm already seeing here. But that was here, you know, my little blemishes, my little babies up here on my cheeks, they've been here since before I reintroduced this cleansing balm. So I think we're back on smooth sailing. It must have been something else I was using at the time. But this is a nice, super lightweight cleansing balm. It's not very dense. It's got kind of like a creaminess to it, which is really nice. And it has this wonderful like toasted coconut scent when you apply it, but there's no artificial fragrance or essential oils here. It's just that coconut oil that's there. It's a pretty basic ingredients list, and it's also a fairly small size, something to keep in mind. You're looking at 86 milliliters approximately. Usually 100 is pretty standard for a cleansing balm. There are some that are this size though, so still testing it, gonna need some time, but I do like the packaging. It's got kind of this, I don't know, it's just an interesting, very simplistic packaging. So I'll need some more time with it. Probably another full month before I can put together my final thoughts. So be on the lookout for a review for that. And then I'm following it up with my second step cleanser, my water-based cleanser. And right now I'm testing out the Milk Makeup Vegan Milk Cleanser. So this is kind of a cream, milky style cleanser. I wouldn't call it an oil-based cleanser. It still has a very light lather in the midst, mixed in with that creaminess. So it's not like an oil-based cleanser. I think Milk wants this to be perceived as a 2-in-1 cleanser. Your makeup remover and your kind of rinse off, like water-based cleanser, second step cleanser all in one, which a lot of companies that kind of have makeup brands and then they introduce skincare, they'll try to do like an all-in-one does-it-all cleanser. And I'm not a makeup wearer, so I can't really speak to that, but I have used this in the AM, and it's done a fine job of removing any excess oil or sebum from the overnight. And then I did try it one time so far with sunscreen on and just using this, and it did an okay job of removing that sunscreen, but I still felt like I needed my double cleanse. So it isn't that, perfect 2-in-1. And honestly, I just like doing a double cleanse in general. I think it helps to really remove all of that sunscreen, all of that stuff from the skin. So I'll always be a fan of a double cleanse. So that's what I'll continue to do. But this is otherwise a really nice, gentle, mild cream cleanser. Quite nice. I like it. I tend to like something that does have a little bit more of a denser lather and foam. I just like that effect. And this really is just kind of feels pretty creamy. Takes a little bit more time to rinse off too than like a typical gel style cleanser. So I'll continue to use it, finish up my 1 month with it before I put together my review. But most likely once I hit that month mark, I don't know, we'll see. I'm not sure if I would continue using this past the testing time. This might go to someone that has extra sensitive skin or is just looking for a one-step cleanse or something like that. So gonna keep working on that one. And then moving on, I pretty much use every other night, and that's the Agency Future formula. So Agency is actually a sister brand or a spin-off brand to Curology. They're geared more towards more mature skin, I think, with also an extra focus on reducing dark spots, hyperpigmentation, that type of thing. So they have a separate formula aside from this prescription, if that'll focus, that focuses on those dark spots. They use hydroquinone, those types of things. So I'm currently at 0.035% tretinoin, pretty low still, very slowly working my way up to stronger stuff. Azelaic acid 5%, tranexamic acid 5%, which both of those ingredients, azelaic and tranexamic, I'm still kind of on the fence if they're really helping to further exfoliate, smooth out skin, brighten skin. I'm really here for the tretinoin. Everything else is just kind of, you know, what's in there is what's in there. And then 4% niacinamide, which I really do appreciate. I love niacinamide for its brightening ability, redness reduction, that type of thing. So I just usually do a couple pumps into my hand. I am pretty generous with my application of that product because there are some nights where I don't use it. And so I always end up receiving the next bottle before I've used the previous one. So on the days that I do use it, I am fine being a little bit more generous with it. But 2 pumps in the hand. This is just the trial size. I just switched over from Curology to Agency because I wanted to test and review this new spin-off brand. So that's why you have the baby trial size. It's the exact same formulation as my other one, but it is now in this new brand. I think they've added an extra ingredient. I don't know if I had azelaic acid in my last one, but my next bottle from Agency will be upping the tretinoin, and I'll be getting that the fading cream or the dark spot eliminating cream that comes as part of this set if you so choose. So anyway, cream-based formula, gonna get this on my face. I typically just kind of dab that in, try to avoid the eye area. Sometimes I'll just rub it between my hands and slap it on, but I do like to avoid the eye area as much as possible. And so then I just kind of massage that in. So avoiding lips and eyes, and I'll usually grab another dab of that when I'm done and pat it into where I have hyperpigmentation on either side of my neck from ingrown hairs and shaving, because it really does help to fade those and smooth down those bumps as well. So I've been using tretinoin for about a year now, and I went from 0.02 over the course of the year, just barely making it up to 0.02 to 0.035. So I'm definitely moving along probably slower than a lot of people. My next prescription is going to be 0.05. So slowly getting there. But I wanted to take it really slow. I didn't want my skin to completely have a meltdown, and it kind of did when I very first started this. I started to get a lot of sensitivity, so I took it really slow from there. So I just put a little dot on either side there as well. So that's that. Depending on the time, how much time I have, I'll let that sit, and I might intersperse a couple mists of toner just to keep the skin hydrated very slightly, but I want to give that a chance to fully absorb. But you can move right into the next steps of your routine, especially if you're completely adjusted to tretinoin, or at least that percentage. Some people might move that step to their serum step or their moisturizer step just to create more of a buffer between their skin and those active ingredients. I, for the past, I'd say 4 months, that's where it goes, right after cleansing. I'm no expert, I'm not a dermatologist. I haven't noticed any extreme like dryness or flakiness or anything due to that. I only really experienced that the first couple months I used tretinoin, but now I can just kind of slap it on and move right into the next steps of my routine. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and do. Don't take this and use it as kind of a lead by example, because when you're using a prescription product, it's really going to be different how you work that into your routine, the percentages, where it goes, how often you use it. All of that stuff's going to be very, very personal, and that's something you need to talk to your professional about. I just wanted to show that because that is a step. Chemical exfoliation or an exfoliating or a retinoid product is something that I use pretty much every night. I have maybe a couple days off a week. Otherwise, I'm cycling between AHA, BHA, tretinoin, and also peptides. I do peptides separate because copper peptides can have different impacts with those different different acids and exfoliating ingredients. So I'm going to show the peptide product that I use, but I'm not going to use it tonight. I'm going to use it in the morning. So that's that. That's already given it probably a couple minutes, and my lips are crazy dry today. So I can't wait to get to my lip product, which is like my last step. So we're gonna get there. Next up is the essence that I'm using. I interchange my toner and essence really just depending on how I'm feeling, what the consistency and formulation of the product looks like, and it's really just personal preference for me. Usually I like to pick the lighter product to go first before the heavier one, but when I have two products that are pretty fluid for essence and toner, then I typically just do, go where my heart tells me to go. And for some reason, I feel like this is quite the product. The Amore Pacific Vintage Single Extract Essence will go first. And this is usually how I use that as like kind of first treatment essence kind of step. And then I move into my toner. So as you can see, I'm a little more than halfway done with this, and I've been using it for just about a month. So I'm pretty generous with my use of this product. I use it when I do my watery products. I pat and layer them on. And even though this was a splurge for sure, I think this bottle retails for around $175. Ugh. But I didn't want to ration it or use it any differently than I would the other essences that I have that I've used in the past that I use, as frequently as possible. I really layer them on. I didn't want to treat this differently because I wanted to give it a fair shot as compared to other essences and how I use them. And I like to layer my hydrating fluids. So I have used this, and every time I reach for it and use it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can only imagine like how much each of those splashes and pats is costing me. But it is a super lightweight, watery fluid. Ooh, oh, I don't want to lose it. I should have poured that in on the camera. There we go. So it is a lightweight, watery fluid. It's got a little stopper in the top of that bottle that only allows you to dispense like a tiny bit at a time, but I give it a little shake just to get a bit more out, and then I like to layer. So that was one layer. I'll usually do 2 to 3, just pushing that product in, patting it in, especially when it goes over the the agency. It does kind of mingle with that residual bit that's left on the surface to kind of reawaken it a little bit, so it kind of absorbs it, and then you kind of just I typically will add another layer just to make sure everything's nice and damp and absorbed. So like I said, haven't had any adverse reaction to doing that with my prescription. Maybe it's because my tretinoin percentage is so low, but I know some people wait 10, 20, 30 minutes after they use their exfoliating step, and certain nights, most nights, I don't have that kind of time. I need to kind of move in as quickly as possible. So I keep looking at the viewfinder. I need to look right at you. Hi. Anyway, that's my essence step. As far as my thoughts on this product, it has been coming up on a month. I have my thoughts. I feel kind of bad because this is a product that was kind of raved about, or the gals over at Beauty Within, they kind of mentioned this product a lot, and I finally was convinced to buy it and splurge on it. I don't think it's anything that incredibly special. It's got a single ingredient, which is that fermented green tea. I think it's fermented for 100 days. I believe. I don't have the box, but I think it's 100-day fermented green tea, and you can kind of tell it just looks like a bottle of tea, and that's kind of what it is. Because it's a cosmetic product, it does have some preservatives. I think has a couple other things in there. It's not just, tea poured straight in here, obviously. It is what I'm assuming is very high in antioxidants, like green tea would be, and that fermentation process can help boost that, create some better absorption for the product as well, so it can be a little bit more impactful. But antioxidants are really one of those ingredients that kind of works behind the scenes to help support skin health, fight against free radicals, exposure to environmental stressors, including UV rays. So it's not one of those things that you put on, you're like, oh my gosh, it's instantly doing something amazing. It's more of antioxidants are a product that just kind of do their thing behind and just support your skin from within, without making a big splash necessarily. And so, having said that, there's so many other essences and toners that are antioxidant rich, that are way more affordable than this product. So I don't find it particularly hydrating even when I layer on. It leaves a little bit of a dewy finish, but so many other essences I've used, when you finish, your skin has that like that choc kind of look, I think is what it's called or what it's referred to as sometimes, but that like bouncy, lifted, kind of dewy, plump, just really filled, hydrated skin. I don't get that at all with this product. I loved the essence from Misha, the red algae essence. That one was amazing and high in antioxidants. The Make Prem Chaga essence, very hydrating, packed with antioxidants. Both of those would be great alternatives to this essence, and they come in at like a third of the price, if not a quarter of the price. So this is just, it was a splurge because I heard it mentioned so often, and every time I saw it at the Sephora that we have locally, every time I walked by it, I'm like, no, don't do it. And then one day I was like, you know what? That's it. We're gonna give it a shot. I just want to see if it's worth the hype. This is like the one essence, this and the SK2 essence were kind of the last two on my list where I was like, I'm gonna try these just to like scratch that itch, and then if they disappoint me, then good news is I don't ever have to buy them again. So this is a product I probably won't be repurchasing. So that's that. Moving on to toner, this is one that is fairly new to my routine. I'm just going to give it a quick shake. This is the I'm From Rice toner, and I know this is another super popular toner, another one that didn't necessarily pique my interest, but then last year I did kind of a bigger purchase from Wish Trend and ended up picking this one up. And so this is a brightening toner, a hydrating toner featuring 77.78%. I believe that's rice water or the rice ferment in here. It's got that kind of cloudy white look that you sometimes get when you're like straining your rice or rinsing your rice. It kind of looks like that a little bit. Oh, as far as scents go, Curology, or the agency, oh my gosh, agency doesn't have a scent. The Milk makeup doesn't have a scent. We talked about the Solved Skincare Cleansing Oil smelling like toasted coconut, and this essence from Amore Pacific doesn't really have a scent either. You'd think it would have more of like an herbal tea scent, and to me it really doesn't. There's not really any noticeable scent. So I'm From Rice toner, white, kind of cloudy, milky toner. No real scent. It's kind of got maybe a little bit of that kind of clinical medicinal scent. No, it's pretty mild. So I was expecting this because of just the look of it. I was expecting it to really feel like the Laneige Cream Skin and almost leave my skin with kind of an oiliness or almost kind of a sheen, especially when it's layered. And it doesn't. It's a little bit more watery. Let's see if we can get that. It's a little bit more watery. Almost looks like just like milk. It looks like milk, like a skim milk. And it pats in really nicely, absorbs really nicely as well. I usually do a couple layers with my toner too. So like 2 or 3 of my essence, 2 or 3 of my toner. I like to get to the point where my skin's like has that noise to it, that it's like damp, but not dripping wet. And so what I like is this one layers really nicely. For my skin compared to the Laneige Cream Skin, eventually the Meadowfoam seed oil in that product would just kind of build up to the point that I started feeling greasy and I couldn't really layer it. So I couldn't apply enough to get that dewy, plump hydration. And then if I did try to get there, I never got that. And if I did, try to push it to that point, it ended up just being kind of oily feeling. So let's do one more. I really like, the cameras. Hopefully the camera is okay. My viewfinder just got a little dim. So So yeah, I'll usually do like 3 layers of this, get on my neck, and I really like how it feels. It's very nicely absorbed. It doesn't, once again, it's not as impactful as the Red Algae Essence or the Giving Essence from Then I Met You, where it just feels like my skin's like super plumped out and just extra hydrated, but it gives you a nice glow. It feels nice on the skin. It almost feels a little bit serumy by the time you get to that 3rd layer. Those with super oily skin still might not like this. You know, if you weren't a fan of the Laneige cream skin and you just don't even want to get anywhere in that realm, then this might not be ideal for you, but I feel like this is a lot more watery, a lot more layerable. So I don't mind it. Those with dry skin might really appreciate it, especially in the summer months, because it gives that refreshing feeling and that lightweight kind of watery feeling, but also a little touch of nourishment too, which is really nice. So that's the toner. I've got stuff everywhere. So before, I used to have my vanity in front of me so I could just set stuff like right underneath where you all are and just pick stuff up, or if I had a desk here. But essentially what's on the other side of this is just my bed and like, you know, areas around my bed, so there's no real place for like a table. So I've got an ottoman here, and then I've got a little trash can that has my laptop sitting on over here. So I'm using kind of 2 spaces on either side of me rather than being able to reach in front. So if I'm doing a lot of this, or if I'm like looking for something up here, it's just kind of the layout of the space for now. But anyway, moving on, let's go ahead and do our serum. JLo Beauty, that JLo Glow Serum. Look at that excessive packaging. It's so, I actually like it. I know a lot of people might find it to be a little bit tacky, but I really like that kind of like encapsulated within the crystal plastic kind of thing. This is very excessive. Who knows if this can ever be recycled, but I like the packaging, is at least the look of it. My only issue is, and it happens a lot with these tops that kind of are snap-on, is the plastic starts to get stress cracks. If you can see that little stress crack right there and down here, and then, oh, look at that, like right here and here. So this is kind of a, you know, what I would consider luxury brand product, and it bums me to see that it starts to get those pretty intense stress cracks from just normal taking the product off and on. I purchased this as part of a pre-order. Who knows if they maybe updated their packaging or upgraded that packaging so you don't get that aesthetic. But for a product that's supposed to kind of be like vanity candy and sitting on the vanity and be photogenic and that type of thing, to see that that effect in the product is kind of a bummer, especially when the cracks are also on the bottom. Like, I don't see that this piece of plastic expanding and contracting like the cap does. So it's surprising that even the bottom's starting to crack. So I'd be curious to see if they've addressed that in future launches and maybe used a different type of plastic or a formulation, because it is kind of a bummer for a product that's supposed to be all... It just is a very visually appealing package in my opinion, but then upon closer inspection it can look a little cheap with all those cracks. So anyway, so this serum uses a proprietary olive oil complex or olive oil derivatives, and that's kind of the focus on all of JLo Beauty's products. I don't have all the packaging with me, so I'm just doing this based off of memory, but I know that's kind of like the signature key ingredient. And so for this serum, I usually just do 1 to 2 pumps right into my hand, and it comes out a fairly like medium weight serum. It's not totally watery, and it's not a cream either. It's like somewhere in between, kind of like an emulsion. And it's got this kind of sweet yet fresh scent. It's very approachable. I don't find it to be off-putting at all, and it dissipates really quickly. It almost smells like it would have some kind of alcohol content in it, but it doesn't. So it's just a kind of basic, not too many frills scent. It's not over the top. It's not Fenty skin level scented. It's pretty basic, but there's a little hint of sweetness to it and a little hint of something there. I don't know if it's vanilla or something like that, but it does have a really mild profile. A lot more approachable, in my opinion, than Fenty's Fenty skin products, especially that cleanser was rough. So applies nicely, absorbs nicely, and I really do think, and I will say this about, I use the JLo Beauty that big screen sunscreen. I ended up bailing on it because it has zinc oxide in it, and it started leaving me with a white cast, and it started to collect on my necklines and in my eyes and on my hairline. So my 10-second review for that product, because I'm not going to do a full review. I kind of knew that was going to happen. I was just hoping it wouldn't. Is I've given up on physical sunscreens. I just can't find one that is the tinted ones that I've liked from like Coats are fine if you're willing to make that compromise, but they do build up. They do feel quite greasy. The tint gets all over fabrics, especially face masks, and that's one of the reasons why I stopped using that back in early 2020, is because it was just causing a nightmare with masks. Anytime I have a zinc sunscreen that's white, it collects in like my eyelids, it collects on my hairline, on my eyebrows. If I haven't shaved, it'll collect there. It collects on my necklines, and it's just bad. So I kind of have, unfortunately, that big screen from JLo Beauty was the last zinc oxide based product, or a sunscreen that included that as part of the formulation that I have in my stash. I don't have any more physical filters. It's all chemical sunscreens, and that's kind of how it's gonna stay, unfortunately. So I've spent a lot of money on exploring different zinc oxide and titanium oxide based sunscreens, and that's just the nature of the game. I really don't think, unless some sort of dramatic engineering feat, befalls zinc oxide or titanium oxide, it just doesn't work on my skin tone, and it's just a fact. I've tried, I don't even know how many I've tried, but enough's enough, I think. Anyway, so the big screen, I was gonna say about that big screen, as well as the glow, even though that did leave my skin with a bit of a white cast or collection of that zinc oxide, it still had this really manageable neutral sheen. Like, it wasn't greasy, and which is nice for a zinc oxide sunscreen, and it was thick. Like, it had a thick feeling, but it just dried down nicely and absorbed nicely. The same with this serum. It just really absorbs nicely. It feels so great on the skin, and it gives a little bit of that luminosity to the skin that isn't a shine on the outside or a layer. It does give you that kind of lit from within, that JLo kind of glow. Like, it does kind of live up to the claims of the product, which I was surprised by it, because I just thought that this was going to be all packaging, not a lot of substance inside, but they seem to have taken quite a bit of time in formulating these products to make them approachable, make them effective. So I need more time with this. I think I've been using this for about 2 weeks now, maybe a little bit longer. So I still need some more time. I have a feeling I'm going to go ahead and finish this one out just to see if it helps to provide any sort of long-term benefits. It's nicely hydrating and nicely nourishing, and I think those with dry skin might want to use it, maybe use 3 pumps, use it morning and night to get a little bit more out of it. But those with normal to oily skin, I could see you using this either at nighttime or AM just to get that little boost. I like that. I've been using this morning and night, but I like it in the AM because once you put your sunscreen over this, even if it's more of a mattifying one, it's still gonna give you a little bit of that kind of within glow, a little bit of that light reflection that kind of gives skin that more awake look, which is really, really nice. So I appreciate this product, even though it is a little over the top. It's kind of like the Vegas of the skincare products that I have in my stash. Like take for instance, let's see, let's find, I mean, even the agency packaging, like, this is just very kind of, I mean, it's a cool color, but it's just like a basic top. I have my exfoliator that I'm not going to use tonight is the Geek and Gorgeous AHA product. I use this a couple times a week. And this, I mean, like, it's just, this is just, it's a little silly. It's like, it should have sequins on it or something. Anyway, so moving on, I was going to share the serum that I use when I'm not using that JLo Glow. This is just a couple times a week. This is from Eco Your Skin, and it's their Meso or Meso Ampule. Here we have niacinamide, macadamia seed oil, jojoba seed oil. You've got licorice root extract, beta-glucan in here as well. You've also got some Saccharomyces ferment in here, and then a couple other fermented ingredients that really help to support nourishment of the skin, healing of the skin, calming and soothing of the skin. But the magic ingredient in this product, and I think one of the reasons why it is priced the way it's priced. I believe on Peach and Lily, the serum is $130 USD, but keep in mind that you get 100 milliliters. Most serums are about 30, so if you kind of break that down, it's about average for kind of a mid to high range, depending on who you ask, serum. You know, if you're used to paying $30 to $40 for a 30 milliliter bottle of serum from certain brands, then this kind of falls in line with that as far as volume. But you do use quite a bit of it. The instructions say to use 3 to 5 pumps per application. Keep in mind you're only using this once, twice a week, but one pump is quite a bit. Like, this is a big top. And so that magic ingredient for this product is hydrolyzed sponge. So what they do is they take natural sponge, refine it down so you get these individual fibers of the sponge. They almost act like microneedles, and they penetrate into the skin to help deliver active ingredients or beneficial ingredients deeper into the skin, and they're also said to help promote healing of the skin. So acne, dark spots and hyperpigmentation, scarring, that type of thing. It's supposed to help to kind of trigger your skin's kind of repair responses and kind of drive that forward. I don't know how much research has been done into that, clinical studies, that type of thing. I can even say that I used a product 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, from a brand called it was called the Minus Serum, and it was sold at Sephora through Glow Recipe, and it was not good. I didn't have a good time with it. It might have made an appearance on a previous video. It was quite a while back. Didn't really like it. I could feel the slight tingle from the hydrolyzed sponge, but it was pretty low on the ingredients list, and it was in this gel format with some alcohol. I think the alcohol was really doing more than the hydrolyzed sponge. It just seemed really gimmicky. I wasn't a fan of it. However, this product I've used, I think I'm on my 4th time now, so I've been using it for a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I think there was 1 week where I only did it once. And the hydrolyzed sponge here is much higher on the ingredients list. It's kind of in the top third, and you can feel like you actually use the physical pressure. So when I apply this, it has so much slip because you use so much of the product that I almost try to do kind of like a gentle massage. I was even thinking of getting my gua sha massage tools out to try using those, but I do apply some pressure just to get it to, you can actually feel those pieces of hydrolyzed sponge or those little fibers kind of sticking themselves in your skin. You get a tingle. So to me, it almost feels like after you've gotten the sunburn, that like sensitivity, that's what it kind of invokes that feeling of, which doesn't sound that comfortable, but because it's the sponge and it's kind of getting in those pores and delivering the beneficial ingredients, it's almost kind of like a good kind of feeling, because it's not, I don't think it's damaging or anything. It's just that feeling of the little pinpricks almost. So it's kind of like this tingly, kind of stingy, almost a little bit itchy is, I guess, the best way I'd describe it. But the actual serum itself is so nourishing. My skin looks like super duper radiant, and I can feel those pieces of hydrolyzed sponge. They kind of stick around a little bit longer than that other one from that Minus serum that I used. Way more impactful feeling than that. Like, I can really feel this actually doing some stuff to my skin. I've noticed that the next day after I use this, my skin always looks a lot more like plump and refreshed and awake and kind of revitalized. And the actual serum ingredients themselves, they seem to provide a lot of smoothing and nourishment to the skin as well, even going into the next day. So it's almost like night cream, night serum plus, which is really, really cool. So that's that for the Miso Ampule from Eco Your Skin. Okay, so 2 more products to get through. I do want to do a quick mention. I'm not going to use it tonight, but a quick mention what my eye cream normally is. I would use this on nights that I'm not doing retinol or tretinoin or AHA or BHA, and then I use it on mornings when I'm not using vitamin C. So anytime I'm not using an active of some kind, I use the Cosrx Advanced Snail Peptide Eye Cream. I'm a big fan of this eye cream. It's got like hairs on it and stuff. That's what happens when you dog sit for a husky, is you get hairs everywhere. But anyway, so this eye cream, I just use a tiny bit on that kind of like fourth finger and then tap that in. It's really, really nice. It has those copper peptides, snail mucin extract, or snail secretion filtrate in it as well. Some other nice hydrating ingredients. It's like a lightweight gel emulsion type of lotion. And so it's not super thick. It absorbs really nicely, pats right in. I'll do a more thorough review of it when I do actually get to work it into my routine, probably in some kind of AM routine video coming up. But yeah, I am a fan of it. I like that. And then I also have the Cosrx Advanced Snail Hydrogel eye patches, and I like both of those. So I would say that's probably going to be the eye product that I continuously come back to after trying a few and not really landing on something that blew me away. So that's that. The next step, and kind of the last step in the major skincare routine for me at night, is going to be a moisturizer. On nights that I use the miso ampule, sometimes I won't put a moisturizer on top of it because it is quite emollient and nourishing and rich, but otherwise I'm using the Klairs Fundamental Water Gel Cream. You can see I'm a decent way through that. It is a very watery gel, just like it says. You can see it kind of moving around in there. I guess I can open. How about you open it, Anthony? I just don't want it to spill. But yeah, you can see it's got that kind of jelly consistency. It's almost like a watery pudding kind of consistency. I almost wanted to say custard, but custard I feel like holds its shape. This is kind of like a watery pudding consistency, which is really nice. And this has it still has some nourishing ingredients, so it isn't completely like a clear water gel, like aloe soothing gel or that type of thing. It's got enough weight to it that it does help to lock a little bit of hydration in, keep things kind of nice and nourished, and you know, that hydration locked the skin overnight quite a bit. It's not as heavy as an actual cream, and I'll go ahead and apply some to my hand just so you can kind of see what that looks like. It's not as heavy as, you know, a night cream or a thicker night moisturizer, but it has just enough to get the job done, especially for oily skin and especially during the summertime. Has this interesting, it's just like a clean, fresh scent, but it's very mild, which is something I like. A lot of times with, you know, your moisturizers, your sunscreens, and your cleansers usually have like the most fragrance. Sometimes toners and essences are pretty neutral, but yeah, not really getting too much off of it. Almost has kind of like a watery scent, if that makes sense. So rather than just putting that on my hand, you can see it leaves that nice dewy finish. I'm gonna actually put it on my face because I needed to put moisturizer on still. So I usually take a fairly small amount because I have some other emollient products in my routine, especially that JLo Glow Serum, so I'm not using too much, like just about that. And then I usually just work it between my hands and press it in. Some products I'll dab on, but this one, since it has more of that fluidity to it, I usually just kind of work it in and then do that. Not being too harsh, try not to pull too much, but I always am like, time is of the essence, so there are certain days where I'm just like that, you know, so definitely don't always practice what I preach about like being super gentle. I'm just like, let's move. I'll sometimes work it, if I'm not using that eye cream, kind of work it down to the eye area, just to give that area of my skin some more nourishment and some more emollient products or a little bit of a richer product overnight, even though I'm not using my actual eye cream. So that's pretty much my routine. The very last product I was gonna share is just for the sake of fixing these poor lips. They're just like, they almost looked a little bit discolored. I was trying to record a video earlier and it ended up not working out with the lighting, but I noticed that my lips almost looked a little discolored. So I'm probably gonna do some exfoliation here. But for now, I'm using the Lano Lips. This is from the brand Lano. This is their 101 ointment, 101 uses, and this is their green apple, I believe. Yeah, this is my third tube of this. I use it pretty religiously. I've used the wait, was it watermelon? I think it was watermelon. I used the cocoa nutter, which is like coconut kind of peanut butter one, and now I just started the green apple today. And so it's got lanolin in it. I believe there's shea butter in here too. It doesn't have any SPF or exfoliation. It's just a really heavy thick balm without being like super tacky. It does sit on the lips, but it absorbs decently. But it's one of the better night creams or like lip products I've used. I can get away with using this in the day, but right now I'm using an SPF based or an SPF lip product, so this has just been nighttime. But in the PM, after I've done my night routine, I'll apply this a couple times before I go to bed, or even keep it on my nightstand too, just in case. Just in case my lips get dry overnight, especially with the AC running. So that's kind of my full full nighttime routine. Even though this is a long video with all the explanations and stuff, this is pretty pared down. I didn't have to like the miso ampule, I'll usually leave that on a little bit and it takes time to press that all in. I'll usually leave the Geek and Gorgeous AHA on. I didn't use a sheet mask tonight. Usually that would take some time. So this is actually a pretty quick, minimal step routine for me, just because I wanted to put out a video for a PM routine that was kind of just my core products. I'm using double cleanse, exfoliation, essence, tone, serum, moisturizer. We're done. And that's pretty much it in a lip product. Other times there would be sheet mask, clay mask, moisturizing mask kind of mixed in there, which has wait times and I'll be back and all that stuff. But this is just kind of, I can knock all of this out in 5 minutes if I needed to. So that's that. Let me know if you have any questions about my routine, if you have any suggestions on how to mix things up, especially if you have some suggestions on maybe switching out where to incorporate tretinoin into my routine, because even though I'm about a year in, I still have room to learn, room to grow, especially as my percentages and the strength of that product starts to increase over time. So any info you can provide, if you want information on any of these products, feel free to let me know. I will link all of them below. I don't really have any affiliate or sponsored or anything like that, and I'll make sure to let you all know if that happens in one of these videos. But everything you see here, I bought myself. So actually, you know what? Solve Skincare, I purchased one of these coconut oil cleansing balms and they sent me 2. So that's the only thing, is technically I got this for half off because I really like this brand. I've developed a little bit of a relationship with their marketing team, and so anytime I make a purchase from their website, they're like, here's a free bag and here's a tumbler, and so they actually sent me 2 of these. So I will disclose that I did get a discount on this technically. But that's it. Everything else I picked up myself, and make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family, and as always, stay glowing. Bye!